Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Caves and Cliffs Part 1 official update. Today we are going to review everything that was released in 1.17.0, and the first thing you're gonna see when you load up the game is not this, but you're gonna see this. And if you are a fan of all things dark mode, you're gonna love the loading screen, which I absolutely do. Then when we get to the home screen, we're gonna see some of the features that we're gonna be talking about in the Caves and Cliffs review once we get into a Minecraft world. And as you can see behind me here, we've got all of the brand new items, blocks, features, all of that stuff laid out for us to review. But before we get started, don't forget to like the video, share it with your friends, leave some comments in the comment section. That does help the video spread out further so that more people can learn about all the amazing new things in this brand new update. And as a quick shameless plug here as well, be sure to check out the Bedrock guide series that I've got on my channel. It is the main content that I put out every week, and we'll be incorporating some of these brand new features into our Bedrock guide survival tutorial let's play series. You're definitely not going to want to miss it. The first feature that we are going to review are these ores. Now, we've got these standard ores, which have always been in the game, but they look a little bit different now. The general texture and shape of the diamond is what the rest of these ores looked like previously, except for emerald ores. They had their own unique shape before, but now every single ore has its own unique shape. And they've also introduced the copper ore into the game. This is brand new as of the Caves and Cliffs update. We'll talk more about copper and some of its functions in a few minutes. In addition to the standard ores, we've got these Deepslate ores down here below. So for the most part, you're going to see these types of ores throughout your world, unless you happen to go through a cave that has a bunch of Deepslate. And if it happens to generate in Deepslate, then you will get the Deepslate specific ores. They don't do anything any differently, they just look a little different when they generate. And when you look at them in the inventory, they do have unique names. So you got Deepslate gold ore and standard gold ore. An interesting change that they implemented in this update with iron and gold ores, and the same applies to copper, even though copper is just brand new, iron and gold actually act differently than they used to. When you mined iron ore or gold ore previously, it would give you the ore block regardless of what pickaxe you used. It didn't matter if it was Silk Touch, it didn't matter if it was Fortune, it would give you the ore block itself. Now, if you take a pickaxe and you mine an iron ore, you're going to get this stuff right here. This is called raw iron. You will get raw iron, raw gold, and raw copper when you mine any of the three of these ores. You'll still get standard coal, redstone, lapis, emeralds, and diamonds like you usually do, but now this is going to be a huge change for the mining experience early on in the game, and it's kind of going to affect the potential need for iron farms and gold farms because we'll have much easier access to those materials earlier on in the game. Even better if we have a Fortune 3 pickaxe here with our gold or iron or copper ores. Just like the rest of them, we are going to have a chance to get even more raw ore materials. So let's go ahead and mine this. We only got one. I think that was just bad luck. Let's try that again. And we'll go ahead and mine this up right here. And there we go. We got 3 out of that one. And we got 2 more. 1 more. 1 more. And 3 more. So out of those 6 ores, I believe, we got 11 raw gold. And if we happen to go over to a furnace, which we have one set up here, and drop in a raw piece of gold, it is going to smelt for us 1 golden ingot. So, once again, to recap, out of just 6 gold ore, we got 11 raw ore pieces, and those could smelt down into 11 ingots. The added benefit of Fortune 3 is just a game changer. We also have these brand new raw ore blocks. We've got one for iron, one for copper, one for gold. Those are some pretty interesting textures that we'll have to figure out a way to incorporate into some builds at some point. The way that you craft these raw ore blocks is by combining 9 raw ores of their designated variety. And just like before, iron has an ingot and nugget variety, gold has an ingot and nugget, but copper only has an ingot. There are no copper nuggets at this stage of the game. I don't know if they plan to add one, but there is not currently one in there. Another quick thing to note as well, you can place a raw ore block into the crafting inventory to break it back down into its raw iron form. This is going to be hugely helpful when we go mining, because when we pick up some raw ores, we can just do this, and we can conserve a ton more space. Essentially, we're getting 9 times the amount of storage in one inventory slot by combining raw ores like this. It's going to make mining so much easier and so much less cluttery. Next up, we've got my personal favorite addition to the Caves and Cliffs Part 1 update, the Deepslate variety of blocks. Oh my goodness. I'm a huge fan of Blackstone, and this is going to go very, very well with Blackstone and basalt and all of those darker nether textures. And they gave us a whole boatload of variety as well. Right here is the actual Deepslate ore, and when you mine this with a pickaxe, you are going to get the cobbled Deepslate unless you use a Silk Touch pickaxe. It's very similar to stone. If you smelt up a cobbled Deepslate, it will turn it back into a regular Deepslate block. And out of those blocks, you can craft Deepslate bricks, Deepslate tiles, and chiseled Deepslate, and you get the wall, stair, and slab varieties for those as well. There's also this one right here. This is infested Deepslate. If you don't know what infested blocks are, when you do break them, they do spawn a silverfish, so just be careful when you come across those. They can be a little bit annoying, but shouldn't be too difficult to take out. Deepslate is going to be generated in clusters below Y level 16, so if you're above that, you're not going to find it. So make sure to get down below that and get down towards Bedrock. And as mentioned before, when ore is generated in the same spot as Deepslate, you're going to get those Deepslate ores. And one last thing about Deepslate is that it does act the same way as stone. You can use cobbled Deepslate to create stone tools, just like you would cobblestone. Next, we've got the brand new copper blocks, and these can be crafted out of the copper ores. So as mentioned earlier, you do need a raw copper, which will smelt into a copper ingot. I would not advise smelting the ores directly anymore, copper, gold, or iron, because you will get less for your ores. Use Fortune 3 and then smelt it down into copper ingots, and once you have copper ingots, you can craft these blocks. Now, the default state, and this is actually the first time that Minecraft has ever done anything like this, the default state for a copper block is this one right here. And over time, this copper block will decay into exposed copper, then onto weathered copper, and then its final state of oxidized copper. So if you leave this untreated, it will decay, and the same goes for slabs, the same goes for stairs. However, if your copper does decay to a state that you do not want it to be at, you can take an axe and hit the use button and chisel away at the oxidation process. So we've restored it back to its original state. That is a very, very cool mechanic that's not possible with any other block in the game. Absolutely love this idea. And then the other thing that we can do is we can take a honeycomb and we can just go ahead and wax on, wax off. We can wax the copper block, and if we pick it up with pick block, you'll see that it is called a waxed block of copper at that point. It is no longer just a regular block of copper. You can do this at any state. You can do it at the exposed, the weathered, the oxidized. Well, you wouldn't really need to do it at oxidized because it's already fully developed at that point. But any of these states of copper, you can wax them and it will keep them in that state forever. If you don't want your shiny copper to turn into that oxidized green, like the Statue of Liberty, then go ahead and put some honeycomb on it, and that'll keep it in that state forever. Something else good to know as well is that you can use an axe to remove the waxed state as well, so if you do change your mind on that, you can get it to oxidize again. A lot of flexibility with the copper palette. I would love to see more stuff like this in the future of Minecraft updates. Anyway, we've got the powdered snow, and this stuff is actually really, really cool. I have a cauldron sitting here because if you set a cauldron in a snowy area, whenever it snows, the cauldron will actually fill up with powdered snow. And if we go up here and take a bucket, we can actually grab that snow and it will give us a powder snow bucket. And with a powdered snow bucket, we can place a powdered snow block. Now, it looks very much like a regular snow block, but it acts very different. We are here in survival mode with our powdered snow block, and I'm gonna go ahead and jump on this, and you're gonna see what happens here, all right? Here we go, 3, 2, 1, jump, and I'm gonna sink straight to the bottom. I'm getting very cold, and I've got frost around the edges of the screen, and here before long, you see my hearts are turning to frost, and I'm taking freezing damage. It doesn't feel good, and I'm shivering. That's amazing. Absolutely amazing attention to detail. So if we step out of the powdered snow, then we will instantly lose the freezing effect and our health will regenerate as long as we've got a full hunger bar. So how do we avoid this stuff? We can do a couple of things with it. We can grab a pair of leather boots. I'm going to jump in and I'm going to sink to the bottom. It is like quicksand, but it's snow. You will sink to the bottom. You cannot jump out unless you are wearing a pair of leather boots. We can go ahead and put on these leather boots and jump up on the powdered snow, and we can walk on it just fine. Not a big deal. I'm back in survival mode now, and I have a leather tunic or chest plate. I'm going to throw that on. So here's what we do. We're going to go over here, just like we did with the leather boots. We're going to try to jump up, and we're still going to sink. But here's the thing. I'm nice and cozy. I got a leather tunic on. There's no frost around the edges. I'm not taking any freezing damage. Absolutely perfect. This is exactly what they did with the gold armor in the Nether update, when you have to wear gold armor in order to keep the piglins from getting angry at you. This is the same concept. It gives a use to a useless piece of armor, beyond the first couple of days at least. One last interesting mechanic about powdered snow as well is it does apply to mobs. If we place a creeper on top of this powdered snow, you're going to see he's going to sink right there to the bottom. And he's trying to get out. He might work his way out the back. We'll see. Yeah, there he goes. So mobs will fall through the powdered snow, which could make for a very interesting effect on mob farms and things like that. So we're going to have to keep our eyes open for some cool designs and try some things out in the future of this channel. Next up, we have this lovely set of purple, white, and gray blocks. This is amethyst, calcite, and polished basalt. You can find all of these blocks plus the amethyst crystals in a geode, and geodes can be found anywhere underground in newly generated chunks in the overworld. You will find amethyst geodes with a layer of smooth basalt around the outside and a second layer of calcite blocks within that. And then inside of that, you'll find a hollow room with all of these amethyst blocks. There are two types of amethyst blocks. There is the standard amethyst, and there is the budding amethyst. These amethyst buds will actually only grow on the budding amethyst blocks, so they won't grow on the regular amethyst or the calcite or the polished basalt. I just put these here for display, but keep in mind, they will only grow on the budding amethyst blocks. So if you're going to create a farm for these, you need those. There are 4 different states for the amethyst buds. You have small, medium, large, and clustered, and once they reach the clustered phase, they will not grow any larger. And in the same way that you would mine crops or other ores, you can break these with Fortune 3 and have a chance to get even more of these amethyst crystals that come out. We got 12 amethyst shards out of 1 clustered amethyst. That's pretty good. Once we have these amethyst shards, we can make a couple of different things out of them, and we'll go over that here in just a moment. Amethyst buds can be placed on top, side, or bottom of any budding amethyst block to grow, and they can even be placed under water. One really cool feature that I love about these amethyst blocks is that when you place them or break them, just take a listen. They have a very unique sound to them. They sound like wind chimes or something. If you run across them, they will also make noise. This, again, another very unique and fun feature that Minecraft has incorporated into the game. More than just giving us another block and texture to throw in a build, this creates even more atmosphere and life in the builds. Absolutely love this change. This may look like an ordinary piece of glass, but it is no ordinary glass indeed. This is the brand new tinted glass, which can be crafted with these amethyst shards, and tinted glass is transparent in that you can see through it, but it will not allow any light in. So if we go like this and enclose this entire area, if we place a block over our heads, it's going to get very dark very quickly. Look at that. That's absolutely amazing. We've got a transparent texture that's completely dark. Very, very cool, and we're only about half done. We got plenty more features to review. Next up, we have the Axolotl. It is the first of 3 new mobs that have come to the Caves and Cliffs Part 1 update, and if we spawn them over here in the water, they will start swimming around. We got a yellow one, we got a brown one, we got another yellow one, another brown one, a white one with a pink stripe. Apparently, the blue ones, which will be my prized possession if I can get my hands on one, are the most rare variety of axolotls. You do not see them very often. Hey, we got a pink one now. That's very cool. But yeah, we don't see the blue ones very often. I have not seen one yet. We could breed these axolotls up, and there's a chance that a blue one will spawn, but I've yet to see one. I really want to see one. Axolotls will attack fish, squid, drowned, and guardians when they are under the water. When they are out of the water, they can wander around for a few minutes before they start drying up, but they will naturally want to find their way back to water. See, these guys are just walking walking back to this pond. But if we come way over here and just drop one over here, this guy is eventually going to dry out and he's going to start taking damage. Let's not do that to our axolotls. Let's be very kind to them because they're very kind to us. These are friendly mobs who will protect and defend us while underwater. These axolotls have a couple of different properties that make them very unique. When they have taken damage, they have a chance to play dead, and when they play dead, they don't move, and mobs cannot target them. They will regenerate their health slowly over time before they reanimate and start swimming around again. Furthermore, while these guys are attacking a mob, let's say a guardian, if they're attacking a guardian and the player actually deals the death blow to the guardian, the player will receive a regeneration effect, and mining fatigue will be removed from the player as well. This is going to bring a whole new level of fun to raiding ocean monuments. Don't leave your axolotls at home. It's easy to spawn these guys in creative mode like we're doing now, but how do we actually find them in a survival world? So, axolotls will spawn in underground water, so be looking for them in caves, and you can grab them with a bucket and scoop them on up just like so. Oh, that's so cute. We've got an axolotl in a bucket. So then, as long as he's inside this bucket, we can take him anywhere we want, and he will be safe and sound. Axolotls can be bred, but not tamed. So if you want to take one with you, you gotta have him in a bucket, or you can attach him to leads, and you look like a professionally trained dog walker. In addition to actually having a lead, you can lure these guys along with a bucket of tropical fish, and they actually like to eat tropical fish as well, and that is how they breed up a baby axolotl. Look how cute it is. It's so awesome. Next up, we have the controversial vote from the 2020 Minecon Live mob vote. We've got this guy right here, the legendary glow squid, and these guys actually look very, very cool. Unfortunately, they do not give off any kind of light source, which I think would be very cool, but they do glow in the dark, and we can even see them really clearly above the water. When you defeat a glow squid, you will get a glow ink sack. With glow ink sacks, you can create these glowing item frames, which were not possible before the Minecraft Caves and Cliffs update part 1. Again, these do not give off any kind of light source. As you can see, the ground is not lit, but these item frames are clearly visible at night. In order to craft one of these glowing item frames, all you gotta do is take one item frame and one glow ink sack, toss it in the crafting table, and there you have it. The other thing that glow ink sacks can do, you can go up to a sign, subscribe to Blue Jay. Kind of hard to read. We'll go ahead and take a piece of blue dye, and we will dye that text blue. And once we've dyed our sign a color, we can apply the glow ink sack to that color and make it glow in the dark. Oh, I love it. Same thing. It doesn't put off any kind of light source, but it is clearly visible at night. Don't forget, subscribe to Blue Jay. And the third and final mob that we have available to us today is the goat. Look how cute he is. I feel like he's gonna headbutt me. Whoa! That was amazing. Oh my gosh. What? That's incredible. Okay, so not only can these guys knock you back really far, they can jump really high. Why can we ride pigs, but why can we not ride goats? Can you imagine the upward hops that we could get on mountains? Oh my gosh, please, Mojang, let us ride goats. Let us jump high. Please. Goats are the brand new mob from the 2019 vote in Minecon Live that also came coupled with the powdered snow and subsequently the mountains that we will be getting later this year. For the moment, these guys will only spawn in extreme hills, but once we have the new mountains, they will spawn there as well. That is subject to change when they finalize those features. Occasionally, goats will ram into players, as you may have seen before, and they will also ram into other mobs. They will also jump really high. Goats actually avoid powdered snow. They will not walk on it, so if you want to keep goats away from you and protect yourself in a snowy area, just gonna have a perimeter of powdered snow. Goats can be tempted and bred with wheat, and once they breed, you will get a tiny little baby goat. Look at the goat. Oh, it's so cute. And just like cows, we have a brand new source of milk to get rid of any of those nasty or positive status effects. You can use a bucket and get goat's milk and drink that just like you do with the cow. And every once in a while, you will hear a goat scream. Apparently, they're pretty elusive and very rare, but it is possible to hear a screaming goat. Next up, we have the simple yet amazing lightning rod. This is made in a crafting table using copper ingots, and it will attract lightning to strike it from within a 64 block radius in every direction. I have activated a thunderstorm here, and we've got phantoms flying around. This is not your update. You shouldn't be here. Oh, anyway, they're trying to hog the spotlight. Let's go ahead and take our channeling trident, and we'll throw it at our lightning rod. And when we toss the trident, boom! I feel like Thor. Do I look like Thor? Because I feel like Thor. Let's do that again. Watch the redstone lamp and this repeater and that repeater back there. When we toss the trident at it, 3, 2, 1, go. Redstone signal emitted for 8 game ticks. This is going to be a very cool mechanic. The Spyglass is used to see things that are very far away, and it is crafted with copper ingots and the amethyst crystals we talked about earlier. If you've got a Spyglass in hand, you can go ahead and use the use button, which for me is the right click on the mouse, and it will zoom in over on this direction. And what does that say? Subscribe to Blue Jay. Who put that sign there? Anyway, you get the point. You can look through the Spyglass and see things that are very, very far away. So this is absolutely something I'm going to be using a lot in the Bedrock Guide Season 1 because I am a pirate and building a pirate base. And what better feature for a pirate than to have one of these things. Next up, we've got the glow lichen. This is a very dim source of light. You can find these on cave walls and in underground lakes. You can place glow lichen on every side of the block, including the top and the bottom. And the very cool thing about this is we've got glow lichen right here and glow lichen right here, occupying the same block space. I'm not sure that there's any other block in the game that allows that. Now, if we go ahead and put a slab here, it's actually going to get rid of both of them. So you can't have glow lichen right here and right here. It doesn't work because it thinks this is a full block. If you use bone meal, you can grow glow lichen just like that. And if you use a pair of shears, you can harvest glow lichen to take with you and plant somewhere else. And yet another new block introduced in the Caves and Cliffs Part 1 update. We've got the Tuff block. This can be found below Y level 16, pretty much anywhere in the world. Just keep your eyes out for it. There's nothing too special about it. It's just a decorative block, and I think it looks quite cool. We've actually already talked about the smooth basalt here, but let's talk about how you get it outside of just the amethyst geodes. If you take a piece of regular basalt and toss it into the furnace like this, and you wait for 8 seconds, you are going to get 1 piece of smooth basalt. That's pretty simple. And next up, we have one of my most favorite and anticipated features in the game. We've got the Dripstone and Pointed Dripstone. The Pointed Dripstone are basically the stalactites and stalagmites that you will find in your Minecraft caves when you generate new caves these days. Even though we're not getting the new cave terrain generation, we are getting the new features, Dripstone being one of them. If a stalactite is broken, it will fall and cause damage to both players and mobs, so be careful. And if you fall on top of these, you will take some pretty significant damage from falling on them as well. So just be careful not to fall or have one of these fall on you, and you'll be just fine. If a stalactite is underneath a lava source like we have here, or a water source like we have here, you can place a cauldron underneath the Pointed Dripstone, and it will fill up either cauldron with the appropriate material. So we've got lava filling up this cauldron right here, and if we take a bucket and grab this lava, you can see the lava droplets continue to flow into the cauldron, and eventually this will fill back up with lava. We finally have a way to create a lava farm. This is going to be so cool. Be looking out for that on the channel really soon. Another cool thing about stalactites and stalagmites, with a stalagmite, you can actually stack these Pointed Dripstone on top of each other, pretty much all the way up to build height. The other cool thing is when you've got a stalactite and a stalagmite that meet in the middle, they will connect up together and form a little dripstone column. If you take 4 pointed dripstone and put them in a crafting table, you will get one of these dripstone blocks. And I think that's pretty much it for dripstone. Next up, we've got the Dripleaf, and if you go and stand on one of these large Dripleaf, it will actually bend down and drop you off until you move out of the hitbox, and then it will reset itself and go back up. This will make a really fun mechanic for some parkour maps I am definitely not going to win at. You can also get these small drip leaves, and small drip leaves can be placed on moss blocks, which we'll talk about moss blocks here in a second. They can be placed on top of clay, or as long as it is underwater, they can be placed on dirt, farmland, grass blocks, or podzol. Getting close to the finish here, we've only got a few things left to review. We've got the moss block. These things are very, very cool and will provide some amazing texture variation for grassy areas. When you use a piece of bone meal on a moss block, it will have a chance to generate several things. So we'll go ahead and do that, and we've got some moss blocks on the ground, and we'll go ahead and bone meal this one too, and we see we'll get some moss carpets here, which are very, very cool, and it also spawns in these azaleas and flowering azaleas. You can keep these just like this and use them as decoration for like little mini trees, or if you bone meal an azalea, it will turn into a tree with an azalea leaf. And just like with any other tree, you can use silk touch or shears to mine these leaves, and you'll even get to keep the leaves with the flowering texture. And just like leaves these days and some other crops, the hoe is actually the most efficient tool for mining these azaleas. Next up, we've got rooted dirt, and if you take a piece of bone meal and bone meal a rooted dirt block, you will have these hanging roots. If we take a hoe and we till the soil here, this is actually going to turn back into a regular dirt block. And if we try to bone meal it again, no matter how hard we try, it's not going to do a thing. This is just a regular dirt block now and will not grow any more roots. And next, we've got a brand new food source. This is the glowberry. Glowberries must be placed on the bottom of most solid blocks in the game. When planted underneath a block like this, they are actually called cave vines. When you apply bone meal to a cave vine, you will get glowberries, and they will emit light, and you can harvest them, and you can eat them. I imagine they're very tasty, but if they glow, maybe they're not too good for you. Just let me know if you guys start glowing too. Another cool thing about these cave vines is that you can climb them just like a ladder, so it just gives us another option for vertical travel. And last but not least, for the actual features in game right now, this is the Spore Blossom. Currently, these are only available in creative mode for now, and just like the glowberries, the Spore Blossom can only be placed on the bottom of blocks. I have tested this out. They can be solid blocks, they can be transparent blocks, it doesn't really matter. You can place them on the bottom of anything, and they emit these little green particles, and eventually you'll see these kind of flying around the area. There's one floating around like this right here. This reminds me very much of the particles in the warped biomes and crimson biomes and the basalt deltas in the nether. We need more stuff like this in the overworld. This is absolutely very, very cool. If we had particles flying around the overworld in certain biomes, it would just bring a little bit of a new feel to the overworld. That's it for features. Now we've got a couple of things left. We've got 3 achievements in the game that have been added. We've got wax on, wax off. In order to earn this achievement, you have to apply and remove wax from all the copper block varieties. So that might take you a little while. Float your goat. You need to get in a boat and float with a goat. Pretty self-explanatory. And last but not least, the healing power of friendship. You need to team up with an axolotl and win a fight. So if you are into the achievements, be sure to go after those 3. Things that have yet to come to the game: caves, cliffs. Yes, I know it's confusing. This is the Caves and Cliffs update part 1, but there are no new caves or cliffs, okay? That's coming later, and it will be amazing. And candles. Candles actually are already in Java Edition, but they are not in Bedrock Edition. So candles will be coming very, very soon. We will not have to wait till the holiday season. It will be a relatively soon update that we get these candles added in. They just weren't quite ready yet for the full release. Also, other things that come to mind are the skulk sensors, the deep dark, the warden, things like that. Those have yet to be announced when they're going to be added. I would assume with the second part of the Caves and Cliffs update, but more information on that later down the road. And then some final changes with a few of the existing features. Masons will now sell 4 dripstone blocks for 1 emerald. So if you have a mason that has not been locked in with their trades yet, be sure to re-roll those and you might get some dripstone. That will be very cool to get. And then wandering traders, the guys that we like to get rid of and kick off of our doorsteps, they will now sell you dripstone, rooted dirt, and moss blocks. So I'm not sure that there's really a way to get moss blocks or rooted dirt in the game. I haven't actually gone through a survival world really yet to look for those things. So until lush caves are actually in the game, we might have to tolerate wandering traders for a little bit. It pains me to say that. We might have to to trade with them. Okay, well, bring them on. But guys, that is going to do it for today's complete feature review. I hope you really enjoyed this, and I hope you're really excited for the Caves and Cliffs update part 1. Let me know if there's anything I missed. Let me know if you've found any other hidden features or changes that didn't get covered in this video. Leave those in the comment section below. I'm looking for every single little nitpicky thing. I would love to hear anything that you might have found. Be sure to follow me on Twitter and join my Discord, and send me some pictures of ways you've included these brand new features in your Minecraft worlds and builds. If you're interested in supporting the channel, be sure to check out my Patreon as well. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss any more Bedrock Edition content just like this. And be sure to check out the Bedrock Guide. A brand new episode in the 1.17 update is going to be coming out very soon. Well, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.